believe. The story that spreads around the world.
Hello, I'm Julia. Do you like hiking and mountain climbing? I know some of you are outdoor person and some of you like to stay home. Actually, there is a story that forests and mountains may not have existed in this world. So, if it wasn't forests and mountains that covered this world long ago, what was there? It is said that giant trees may have covered the world in the past. Legend of the world's giant trees. This story is as famous as that legend. What do you think that legend is about? The legend that when you buy a map of the world in Japan is written in the middle? No, it is not. Actually, it is as famous as the legend of Noah's Ark. Who doesn't know the legend of Noah's Ark? I think the legend of the flood remains all over the world. Have you ever heard of a giant tree called Yggdrasil in Norse mythology? Yggdrasil is a large tree that supports the world by its branches, and is called the World Tree because of its overwhelming scale. Talking about giant trees, Devil's Tower in Wyoming is said to be one of them. It is 400 meters from the base to the top, and the top is 5,000 square meters in area. It looks like a stump from a distance. The pattern on the side of this Devil's Tower is said to be columnar joints, similar to that of a sawtooth oak tree or that of a conara oak. There are things that look like giant tree stumps all over the world. For example, the top of the Yggdrasil Island in Tunisia has a pattern that looks like an annual ring. Is this an ancient stump of a giant tree? Monument Valley in the US also has many stump-like structures. There are many giant trees in the world that look like stumps, as if the legend of giant trees actually existed. However, few people know about the giant tree legend. Why are there so few people interested in it when there are so many references to it? That's because there was a movement to cover up the giant tree legend. The legend of the giant trees covered up. There are many evidences of the existence of giant trees in literature such as Devil's Tower and Yggdrasil, but they may have been cleverly hidden by the people on top of the world. It is said that the discovery of the Devil's Tower may have led to the concealment of the legend of the giant trees. What do you think is under the tree? That's right. Roots. Here is the image. In 2017, a Wyoming State Park's scientist accidentally posted on Facebook what looked like a giant root spreading 6 kilometers beneath Devil's Tower. The post is titled "New Discovery Changed the World." However, this post is said to be false. There is an agency that reviews the accuracy of information called Fact Checker, and they desperately told them that it is not credible. Why did the fact checker desperately deny it? 3 years later, social media users have been sharing content claiming that scientists discovered that the Devil's Tower Butte in Wyoming is originally a giant tree after finding an incredibly large petrified root system underneath it. But the post was dismissed as a fake. If the discovery of a giant root lying beneath Devil's Tower is a lie, it is possible that a great power is at work. If there is a move to cover up the legend of the giant tree from the discovery of the Devil's Tower root, what reason would they have for trying so hard to hide it? Perhaps they are trying to hide about the existence of giants in the past. Legend of giant trees and legend of giants. What the world's upper class is trying to hide may be the legend of giants. If modern humans breathe in the large amount of oxygen released by giant trees, they will quickly from oxygen overload. Organisms have changed their ecosystems according to oxygen levels. For example, about 300 million years ago, carnivorous dragonflies the size of today's seagulls were soaring over the ground as if they were our own. How dragonflies and other insects of this era grew to such enormous sizes has long been a mystery. According to the current mainstream theory, ancient insects grew huge thanks to the high oxygen concentration in the Earth's atmosphere at that time. In other words, the oxygen concentration has changed over time. Considering this, it would have been easy for giants to cleanly cut down giant trees of several thousand meters. The English fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk also features a giant. Have you seen the giant footprints of Goliath in South Africa? There is a giant footprint located in a remote area about 300 kilometers due east of Johannesburg in the eastern Transvaal near the South African town of Mpumalanga in Mpumalanga, which borders on Swaziland. The giant footprints are said to be 1.2 meters long. It looks like he would be about 5 meters tall if we estimate his height from the size of his feet. Fossils of 1.5 meters footprints and 2.5 meters footprints were also found in California in 1925 and 1926. It is also said that there were giants that were 6 meters and 10 meters tall respectively. In Ecuador, a priest found a bone that was even larger than the one found in 1964. Here is a photo. An Austrian researcher brought the bones back to Austria, where several experts examined them and determined that they were the bones of a 7.6 meter tall human being. Evidence for the existence of giants like this has been found in many places around the world. Do you think there were giants? Despite the possibility that titans may have existed, why are they still hidden from the public? One theory is that if the existence of titans were to be revealed, the established theory of human evolution would be overturned and some scholars would be disadvantaged. There is a theory that giants have a culture of cannibalism in which they eat human flesh, and that Christianity, which considers cannibalism to be the greatest taboo, cannot recognize the existence of giants with a food culture that deviates from its ethical values. There may be a theory that the truth has been distorted for religious reasons. There may come a time when the existence of giants is not a fantasy or a story, but a reality to be disclosed by archaeologists and historians. Maybe there were giants in ancient times just as there were dinosaurs. Thank you all for watching.